Hello dear viewers, my name is Nino and you're watching Nino's product reviews, and today we're going to take a look at the Oneplus X. And now what the main difference between the Oneplus X and the Oneplus Two is, once we unbox it, we'll notice that this is a smaller phone. We have a 5-inch screen compared to the 5.5 from the Oneplus Two and Oneplus One before. Now this has several advantages and disadvantages. The main disadvantage here, it's a smaller screen, so if you don't like that, well, that's gonna disturb you. The advantage though is you have better and larger pixel density here, if I can say larger for something like that. You have 441 ppi on the Oneplus X compared to the 401 on the Oneplus Two, and I'm going to be comparing it with the Oneplus Two a lot today, so please forgive me, but it's the best way to measure it. Now, as you can see, I have the Onyx model, which has a glass back and a glass front finish and metal bezels on the side, you know, and they look beautiful. This phone is gorgeous and elegant. I really like the way they made it. It's actually going to be released also in a ceramics version, but that one's limited to 10,000. I was lucky that a friend of mine is buying this phone, so he let me play around with it for a day and make this review. And unfortunately, I don't know anyone who's lucky enough to get the ceramics version, so I don't think I'll be able to review that. As you can see, we get a kind of a silicone casing for the phone here. Hold on, let me see. Yep, and this case for the phone, it's quite ugly, and personally I don't like it, but it's nice that they give you something on top. I mean, they don't have to, and they usually don't, so it's always nice to get something. But honestly, if you buy such a beautiful phone with a glass finish and it's elegant, and then you flap on this ugly silicone case, you're killing it. Don't do that. Just don't. It's just a much better looking phone without this case. Just pay attention to it, don't drop it, everything will be fine. I mean, if you drop it, even the silicone case will do pretty much no difference here, I believe. Now, if we pull out the SIM card tray, you'll notice one of the main differences compared to the Two. We now have the support for 2 SIM cards or an SD card and a SIM card, and that is great because it was one of my main gripes in the past, and something that many other people have been asking for. And it's good to see that OnePlus is listening to the fans. The option to have an SD card instead of a second SIM card is very useful. Of course, I would have preferred to just have it like most Chinese phones, where you have 2 SIM card slots and an SD card slot, but you can't ask for everything. Another difference that you'll notice here is that we have a standard USB connector, no Type-C here. Unfortunately, it's a gold-plated one. It looks really nice, but it is essentially not a Type-C connector, so they have tuned things down a bit with this cable, which is a bit sad because I am a great supporter of that idea, but it doesn't matter. Now, if we move on to playing with the phone, you will notice that it's running the Oxygen OS 2, and it's pretty much the same as the Oneplus 2 in that aspect. The software experience is going to be the same. It also supports things like tapping and doing other motions on top of the screen, which will enable certain functions, but for some reason these didn't seem to boot that well. As you can see, I had to do this twice to boot the camera, and now I'm typing a V on top of it, which is supposed to start the flashlight. Nothing happened for some reason. It did vibrate after I did it, so it did tell me that it recognized the command, but sorry, but it just didn't seem to work. So, and now it works. So it takes a few tries. I don't know what the reason for that is. Maybe it's just lacking an update or something like that. All the commands are there, but you see it just didn't turn off. Then I did it again, it turned off and on immediately. So it's being a little bit buggy in that aspect, but I don't think that that'll be such a big problem. Changing of the songs here worked just fine, so that's great. Now, since we're at it, I would like to also mention that we have different hardware specs here. On one end, if you take a look at the phone, the Oneplus Two had a 810 processor and an Adreno 430 GPU plus 4 GB of RAM. Well, there was a 3 GB version as well, but I had the 4 one. If you compare it here, the Oneplus X actually comes with 801 processor, Snapdragon 801, and an Adreno 330 GPU with 3 GB of RAM, which is still more than you will need, but it will be a bit weaker than other phones, and especially the Oneplus 2, which is normal. It also comes with a 16 GB of space inside, as you saw, of storage. And other than that, it really works great. It feels great. You know, the phone is just wonderful to hold. It's smaller, it's very comfortable. So if you're into smaller phones, you're definitely gonna enjoy this. Another thing that I would like to do here is show you how the Antutu benchmark goes out. And you saw the first time I tested, I had over 42,000. Now with the second test, yeah, I think it's gonna go a little bit less than 42,000. And as you can see, we have several phones that are ranked higher. Let's take a look at them. Then we have it's basically below the Note 4 with somewhat of a gap. And if you remember the OnePlus 2, you can see it up here. So the OnePlus 2 was significantly faster, for example, than the Note 4. And yes, this phone will be significantly slower. We're talking about 10,000 points of difference, but still it is going to be very fast nonetheless. So unless you're trying to do something really complicated on your phone that eats a lot of power, this will make no difference. Now when it comes to this side button here, is just the same like on the 2. And another thing that is very important to mention is the camera. The OnePlus X actually has a better front camera with 8 megapixels compared to the front camera of the OnePlus 2 with 5 megapixels. The back camera is pretty much the same. So I personally really like this phone. If you guys like it too, be sure to get it. It still requires an invite, but in a month that won't be the case. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if that was the case, be sure to like, comment and subscribe. And if you want to support my YouTube channel further, you may click on the Patreon side on top, or you can also use the Amazon link that I've provided in the description to buy something within 5 minutes after clicking on that link. It really helps me, guys, and I'd be really grateful if you did so. In any case, thanks for watching, and I hope I'll see you on the next video.